So welcome to part 2 of episode, what is this, episode 10? Yeah, it's episode 10, little milestone here, and it's a big-ass episode because I had friends in the house. Let's get Kyle out here. Thanks for clicking over to part 2 of episode 10. So I've got, it's not Macon, it's not Nate. As I mentioned, we let Kyle out of his giant T-Rex cage. Kyle is the dinosaur at the end of the new Jurassic Park that all the bidders are waiting to see at the end of.
I didn't see it.
Spoiler. But you're a large dude. Never had somebody this large. By the way, 330s never looked so good.
Well, thank you. I've come a long way from 330. I fit into 2X now, 298. I'm under 300 for the first time this decade, I think.
No wonder you look so damn good, sir.
This decade.
You look healthy, you look happy, and I am happy to see you. It's good to have you back in Seville, bro. You're here for Luke's little birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Luke who turned 1 this week. And we're going to talk about a lot here because we happen to have Nate and Kyle who are teammates, Kyle and I who are brothers, and we all played in the NFL. So there's a lot to get to today, including 5 most intimidating linemen that we played against.
I got to shout out. Both our fathers are in the Hall of Fame. My dad's in the Hall of Fame for Westchester Community College.
Let's go.
Yes. Look at that.
Al Collins. Shout out to Al Collins.
We will never be as good as our dads.
No, we
Bottom
won't.
line.
We won't. We won't.
How
I mean,
about that?
let's just get that out there. The fucking guy's got a gold jacket. No, there's some things we're better than him at. Let's start off with this question, Kyle. Who does Dad like the most? On 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. You.
Mom.
That's such a fucking cop out.
He likes me. He likes me more than
He
you.
does like exactly. Thank you. Kyle's my genetic spawn.
Well, you're
He's the-
too smart, and he
Yeah.
can't condition you in the way that he wants to.
Yeah.
And from a young age, like a groomable Labrador Retriever, I've been like,
Yeah. Like the football.
good God.
Do the football.
Yes.
Kyle, you're doing football good.
Keep it up.
Chris, you're doing football good. I have other interests.
Well, hold on. Kyle's on the phone.
Well, Kyle's on the phone. Kyle's beeping through. Also, struck by the lightning of Zeus here. I mean, just look at this guy. He's a specimen. He's like Magnuson.
Magnus Van Magnuson.
You're like one of those fucking dudes, some Nordic dude lifting a giant Indiana Jones looking boulder onto a Mack truck.
Why didn't we have those competitions in Ivy, Virginia?
Because it would have just been you.
I would have been in a kilt.
And Dad would have been like, I want to get in on this thing. And he would have like
Blown
threw
his
out a
back out,
disc.
yeah.
So we're going to do 5 most intimidating linemen that we played against or with. We're going to do 5 stadiums that we like the best, not including our own stadiums. We're going to do pet peeves in the NFL. And I'll ask Kyle a few questions. Kyle, I think we'll start with pet peeves. And Nate, you can certainly pop in here whenever you feel like it's necessary. I'll start with one. These are NFL pet peeves. And it's my pet peeve anywhere, but NFL players do it a lot. DBs do it a lot. Cutting in line. Am I wrong?
Like lunch lines or
In a
just
lunch
like,
line. Or a line to the plane. Or a line to the bus. You know when the bus empties out and everybody's waiting to get on the plane from an away game? And, certain guys just mill around or stay on the bus. And then they cut to the front of the line. Everybody's getting ready to getting the jet bridge ready.
Dude, you're not going to get out of here early.
Everybody's leaving on the same airplane.
The offensive line, who I will say in front of a camera, the smartest group of people.
Very obedient.
On the field, obedient, Labradors, all of us.
All labs.
And we sit on the bus because we know we're going to get our food either way.
Yeah.
There's no reason to rush.
But also,
And
too,
chances are you'll get fresher food at the end of the meal.
But also,
Yeah,
too,
that's
that's
true.
different for old linemen because most of the time on the planes and travel, your seats are allotted
Oh,
for you.
fuck. You
because
know
of
what?
size.
We've been sitting here setting up segments. I've been holding this board here. Hopefully people that are watching on YouTube have been paying attention to this board wondering what the hell it is. I know Nate and Kyle have. So what we have here is a cork board. It looks part Russ Cole. It looks part NCIS.
This
like
is True Detective for sure.
It's definitely True
First
Detective.
48.
And this is-
Carcosa is somewhere in
Yeah,
here.
Carcosa is he might be the mystery man. But the idea for this segment, and I call it Ashton Kutcher Butterfly Effect segment, which is a lot of words for a segment, but that's the only way It's kind of like 6
Makes
degrees.
sense.
It's well, you don't know that it makes sense yet. So
In my head, it does.
In your head, it does. It's kind of like 6 degrees separation, Kevin Bacon, but it's more Ashton Kutcher. All the people on this, well, some of the people on this board, this cork board, that are connected by red strings, which mean nothing, are related in some way. Now, there's some pictures here. I'll give you a hint. John Madden is here with a turkey next to Greg Roman and Lamar. John Madden has nothing to do with this. Now, the way I look at this is we're going to do a segment a lot of times on this show where this will sit up for an entire show. People that are watching on YouTube, hopefully people that are listening on the pod via audio will tune into YouTube to see what the fuck is on the cork board.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next show, I will reveal what it actually meant. You can take your guesses and tweet at Chalk.
It's like a
Media.
crossword puzzle. Tune in next episode for the answers.
Yeah, and what we're doing is
I
we're
like that
driving
marketing
some people
scheme.
to the YouTube channel. We're also driving you to our Twitters. But organically, I really like the segment. So basically, I'm going to make a statement here. Well, I won't even make the statement for the first one. I'm going to tell people listening. We have pictures of people up here. We have the Harbaugh brothers. We have the guy from West Virginia who went viral, when that poor girl's car got crushed by a tree. We have Alex Smith. We have Marcus Higgins. We have Joel Dunbar, Stan Kroenke, Jeff Fisher. We have South
50
Park. We have a turkey. We have Charlie Brown. We have, God, we got a lot here.
Is that number 53?
We have a picture of the Waffle House. There's Ray Lewis, and I'll give you a hint, he's going to possibly tie into this whole thing. But basically, you got any guesses on how these people are all related, Nate or Kyle? I really didn't tell them.
They're all killers? I'm sorry.
That was Nate Collins. He lives at 2308 Price Avenue.
I mean, obviously, the overarching theme here is football.
There's a lot of football, and these guys are connected somehow.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just take a stab at it here? Now, I thought of this the other night watching the Rams. What do you think?
I know, it's all like Thanksgiving theme, like cartoons and shows that play. Like
Peanuts was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're on the right track. Not.
And he's Virginia Tech, and you guys played on Thanksgiving every year.
Every year.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor's up here. No, here's what it is. I'll tell you. I'm gonna explain.
no
Guys,
idea.
get your sit at your little desks with your little composite notebooks and take notes, bro. Because this is the Ashton Kutcher butterfly effect.
Okay.
That's a butterfly flapping its wings, which can change everything, as
I
we
like
know
butterflies, bro.
with the chaos theory, which I don't have memorized yet. If you look up the chaos theory, it describes exactly what we're about to do. That's Stan Kroenke.
Is that like string theory?
Something like that.
Okay.
That's Stan Kroenke in the top left of the cork board. Stan Kroenke obviously bought the Rams on the heels of the Steve Spagnuolo firing circa 2012. Now, this was when I was up for a contract. I was really excited. I was coming off a really good year. I was like, who's going to be the head coach that's going to take the reins here and possibly pay me? That was Jeff Fisher. Great news. I'm Kyle Vandenbosch. Don't know who Albert Hainsworth is going to be yet, but like, I can be Kyle. He can pay me because I'm white. I hustle, that sort of thing.
Gritty.
Also brought Greg Williams in as his D coordinator. I think this is also positive. These are two guys who are hard-nosed. Jeff's a player's coach. Jeff brings in players like Cortland Finnegan, who are some of my favorite teammates of all time that came from Tennessee, including William Hayes, who we both know well. And then we've got Greg Williams coming from New Orleans. And Greg Williams, of course, this is right before he serves his suspension. And he brings guys up with him from a personnel standpoint, like Joel Dunbar. That's the linebacker here under Stan Kroenke. He was instrumental in New Orleans. He was also very underrated for us in St. Louis. Now, you bring those players in. We played a physical style. We hustled. We played hard. We go out to play our division rival in San Francisco, who is soaring that year under Jim Harbaugh. He's got Alex Smith at the helm, being coached up to the best of his abilities. The best moments in his career were under Greg Roman. You've got this thing rolling. They're a Super Bowl likely team. They're going to have a shot at making a run. Now, he scrambles to try to pick up a first down in this game in San Francisco, and Joel Dunbar, I'm no more than 3 yards away, when he knocks Alex Smith out of the game. Now, this is where the mystery man in the middle comes into play, and that mystery man is Colin Kaepernick. Now, Colin Kaepernick enters the game, and he never looks back. he propels them on a run to the Super Bowl.
How did I not see that this is a Kaepernick board?
Exactly. Well, it's not quite a Kaepernick board.
Well, that most of these things, I'm looking at the Harbaughs. I'm looking at Taylor.
Were you not on the team?
So to recap here.
Sorry.
We've got Stan Kroenke hires Jeff Fisher, who hires Greg Williams.
With a bunch of gangsters to go play the Niners.
Yep, who brings Jolon Dunbar, who knocks Alex Smith out of the game, which leads to Colin Kaepernick's entrance to the game and him lighting the league on fire with the help of Greg Roman, who's also, breathed some life into Alex Smith's career. They should win the Super Bowl, and it's actually not as the misconception there was a defensive team. They had a lot of great players on defense, but the defense did not keep the points down in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs in general. Colin was a guy that propelled them there. Now, what happens next is really interesting. Greg Roman eventually leaves. He coaches Tyrod Taylor up really well.
He went to the Pro Bowl that year.
To the best of his abilities. There's a guy in college named Lamar Jackson, and you can see him down here, picture with Greg Roman. That's going to be important on a couple levels. I don't believe that the Ravens are even thinking about drafting a Lamar Jackson at 32 unless it's for a guy like Cap taking the league by storm. I think Cap changes the way we've looked at quote-unquote running quarterbacks and the possibilities with which we can use them. And Greg Roman plays into that. They draft Lamar Jackson. I also believe that they really were serious about bringing Colin Kaepernick in Baltimore.
With Lamar.
No, this is before Lamar.
Okay.
Infamously, they brought in Colin, and it went sideways because of the Nessa thing or whatever you want to believe. So I think they had long dreamed of having a mobile quarterback in the twilight of Joe Flacco's Baltimore career. So they bring Lamar in, I believe, at least partially on account of Cap's success, which doesn't happen if Alex Smith is never knocked out of the game. They also bring Greg Roman in for Lamar's second year. Lamar was good, not spectacular his rookie year. He needed that catalyst to take him to the next level. Greg's the guy. Greg also...
So that was a big change.
No, well, Greg also worked with one of the Harbaugh brothers, right? He worked with Jim. Jim brought him from Stanford. Well, John, because of all these factors, Cap's success, Greg Roman's success with Tyrod, with Cap, his relationship with his brother brings him to Baltimore. So now you've got the Roman and the Lamar Jackson effect multiplying each other. And what we see here is a team that is my odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. And when you win the Super Bowl, according to Ray Lewis, when the Baltimore Ravens are playing well, you drive the crime rate down. That's what Ray Lewis said on a couple of occasions. I don't believe that to be true. It's just
going to say, I want to see some empirical data behind it.
There is none. This is a Ray Lewisism.
I like it. I support you, Ray.
So you can gather from this butterfly effect. I believe, let's say the Ravens go out and win a Super Bowl. I think Stan Kroenke is responsible for this Super Bowl. Stan Kroenke should have a statue in Baltimore.
For bringing this man
in. For bringing Jeff Fisher in, who brought Greg Williams in, who brought Jolon Dunbar in, who knocked Alex Smith out of the game, who allowed Cap to set the league on fire, which allowed a marriage between Greg Roman and the drafting of Lamar Jackson in a way. Now, this team is an offensive juggernaut, but you know what else Stan Kroenke did? He sent Marcus Peters to Baltimore. So as if this wasn't empirical enough, he sent Baltimore the cheat code on defense. And what's happened since Stan Kroenke sent Marcus Peters?
I've heard he is a cheat code, and he knows the game very well.
So what's happened since Kroenke sent and the Rams?
I'm talking about Peters, but
yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. What's happened since he sent Peters? The icing on the cake of my True Detective Court report. They have been one of the most efficient teams in the league from a defensive standpoint. That is throwing gasoline on a fire, and I think that fire burns all the way through to Miami. And Stan Kroenke should have
a statue
in the Inner Harbor
or Baltimore.
Yeah,
they should just throw crabs at him.
So do are you guys buying this?
Chris, I'm here because I support you and I support your Rust Cole, your inner Rust Cole, and this is some Rain Man shit, and I like it. Yeah. It's very cool.
I thought about it when I was watching,
and I didn't know what it was until we go through it. But that's incredible because you were there.
Thank you.
You were there for the bloodbaths in the NFC West.
Oh, San Francisco, St. Louis was
the games you're talking about. And as a fan, and I was a Rams fan when I was in college and I was in junior college. But the NFC West, it was the Cardinals, it was the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners. And they were bloodbath games.
Oh, they were.
8 tight ends on the field.
Yeah, just 8 tight ends. You had Leonard Davis and tackle over. I'm in a 6 technique. Like, yeah, let me just put if I just use my leverage, I'll be able to.
But people, the phrase any given Sunday gets thrown around. Honestly, in the NFC West in the 2010s.
Yeah. We beat all of them.
That's the case.
Yeah, we beat all of them. We were in one game.
You guys played everybody tough.
That game ended in a tie, by the way, the one that Cap came into.
What was this, 1917?
It ended in a tie. I didn't know how to feel. And then the next year we played them in the most physical game of my career in 2012, I believe it was. No, in 2013.
Vance McDonald.
Well, yeah, he was a dog. Listen, the Niners back then had prime Vernon Davis. They had Vance McDonald. They had Delaney Walker, who's a stud now, and was a stud then. They had Anthony Davis, Boone,
Crab,
Ayupati, Goodwin the center, Joe Staley, Frank Gore, Colin Kaepernick. Fucking, they put Kilgore in at fullback, who's a guard.
People talk about the defense.
Crabtree, Bolden. People talk about the defense? Yeah, let's talk about that offense.
Yeah, you look at the O-line in particular, and the names you named, they're still playing, and they were at the height of their career.
Yes.
Kaepernick versus who was the Bears backup? Who's the
Bears backup back then?
I can't think. He did really well in Tampa.
Josh McCown.
No, he's black.
Oh,
tall.
Josh Freeman?
Friedman.
Yeah.
Who I heard is a baller. I've heard a lot of amazing stories about him.
Kaepernick first start, that next game after he got in was versus Freeman. And it was a Sunday night game, and Kaepernick destroyed us. They destroyed us. Alden Smith had 5 sacks.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Yeah. And this is what's funny. He's sitting here, he's telling me, like, I was there when Cap, and you forgot that I played him the year.
Yeah. The game.
He came out here, I could have had 4 sacks in the game if it wasn't for Cap. Bro, this dude, he was just running side. Yeah, I mean, like, here, let's move this corkboard out of the way.
It's a weird
Thanks, bro.
It's a weird run too.
So that's
he's got like a 400-meter sprinter run.
Yeah, it's different. You're like, I could catch this guy.
Yes, that's what happens. Is mentally, like when you watch it on tape, you think that you easily can run him down.
Like I'd say when a quarterback goes naked boot, and Leonard Floyd is on pursuit.
Leonard Floyd is rangy.
Similar rangy run.
Yes. I don't know how that feels to run rangy. I ran in place when I used to run for a living. Let's get right into pet peeves, shall we?
Okay.
Because we were there. Cutting in lines, that's one for me. Do you guys have any off the top of your head?
Well, I was thinking more like in the game. I was thinking TV timeouts.
Go ahead.
Playing in Chicago, it's brutally cold.
Yes.
And when you're getting ready to go on the field, like, I was on some really bad teams and we were down 30 points and it was
Kyle.
0. I know, I get it. You can relate. But you guys played indoors. It was warm.
I would have rather played outdoors.
Yeah, but there are some games where it's like, dude, ref, come on, bro. Let's get the clock running here.
Yeah, and you're a big guy, and you got the.
I played with Roberto Garza and Matt Slauson, who would not let you leave the locker room with sleeves. And I was the first person when all the old timers left
to put sleeves.
I was the only guy that nutted up and said, I'm wearing sleeves. Like,
I don't appreciate that in Chicago, do they?
They did not like that.
Yeah, no, it's
they don't.
Everybody out there in Chicago who wears like 3 layers of Carhartt on the job wants the pro athletes to get cold and inhibit their performance. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I got a lot of friggin' like toughness in terms of cold weather.
Yeah,
because we practice in it. We're outside. The
practices are way worse than the games.
The game is so long.
Yeah,
it's so long, and the wind. Right off the lake, because we don't practice at Soldier Field.
Lake Erie.
I used to like the chicken broth though when it gets cold on the sideline. Instead of Gatorade.
By the end of my career, I started, and I didn't wear sleeves because it took away from my swag late in my career. But it was more for me. I wasn't ashamed to throw on that big jacket. As soon as I get to the fucking sideline,
love the jacket with the heated seat.
You want to see some coach? Here's the funniest thing. Another pet peeve of mine. Here's what grinds my gears is coaches that look at you funny when you put the jacket on or wear sleeves, and these fuckers are out there in gloves at practice, bro, and 3 layers of jackets. Like, stop, bro.
I got a pet peeve too.
Okay.
The player who purposely stands to the right or the left of the head coach so he's
to get on TV. So true,
constantly.
Bro. So true.
That's a pet peeve of mine, especially if I don't know you and you're wearing your favorite chain and you're purposely standing and you're doing the fake cheer.
Got the lineup yesterday.
Just everything's lined up. It's something where you can do it once, but if they're cutting to the coach for a few quarters and it's the same guy.
That's what they call clout chasing.
Yeah. It is, but what I say is you're just showing everyone you're not
clout
in the
chasing.
game.
You're clout chasing. I was gonna say, coaches that don't watch your film. Most position coaches, here's a dirty secret: they barely watch the film.
Oh,
they don't have time to evaluate a game, so they're like going off of the stats and then like
notes,
what the coaches upstairs are yelling at the coordinator, what he's doing, and really what they're doing is NFL coaches. In a position room, there should be one guy who's the scheme guy, and there should be one guy who's the football guy. And the guy who's the scheme guy should not coach you on football, and vice versa.
You know what? Great example of that, and the most success I had as a football player was Aaron Cromer was the offensive line coach, and Pat Meyer. I don't know if you remember Pat Meyer. He was the blitz pickup guy.
Yeah.
The only thing the only quotable thing from Pat Meyer is, "We got answers, bud."
Yeah.
Never freaked out.
Yeah.
What did Aaron Cromer teach me? How to be a bad man on the field.
Right. So you got two different.
I had a football coach and I had like a mentality guy.
Yeah, mentality
London
guy.
and Beelan?
London and Beelan.
And Aaron Cromer, I mean, if he listens to this, it's like, that's real shit. And I know that
Aaron
he
does
did that
listen.
with a few people.
I think at least I saw a figure where at least 50% of the NFL coaches listen to Greenlight Pod.
It's great. They don't watch film, but they're watching the pod.
No, because that's what they're doing. Instead of recognizing great rushes that I have that didn't get home because the other fucking DN loses contain or the tackle fell over or it's a shitty call or the coverage is bad, we just go right past it. We go right past it and we go upstairs and get yelled at by the coordinators.
Have you experienced it where a coach almost
Stop crying.
Have you experienced it where
Shut
a coach
up,
almost
Nate.
watches too much?
Yeah, where a coach watches too much film? Yeah, absolutely.
You guys don't even know because you guys never been practice squad players. So all the stuff you're complaining about right now is like the life of a practice squad player.
We don't have a leg to stand on there. You know what? Also, while we're on topic, coaches that yell at the practice squad players about getting the cards right.
Oh,
newsflash. You're fucking reading the cards because you're either younger or you're not doing the other thing as well.
And that's what I mean. That's the mental messed up part is you're telling me to read off a card. Damned if I do well, damned if I don't.
Running downhill. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And you know what's fucked up is a lot of times
because he's going to get yelled at, somebody else is going to get yelled at.
Yeah, they're just the coach,
And we don't see half of those interactions because that's
see them
upstairs.
all.
But I mean, we might see two, but there's three other links in the chain.
From the top
They're
down.
going to get absolutely
Here's one that
lashed
annoys me.
upstairs.
Here's one that annoys me. DBs controlling the music. They insist on controlling the music 120% of the time.
It's an oligarchy. It's all the small guys.
All the small guys. It's like a lot of little man's complex guys.
I'll give it to Akeem Hicks though. He asserted dominance on the auxiliary cord.
Flesh will do it sometimes, and I would assume that
Briggs,
Akeem
when I was
Hicks,
at the Bears,
he'll put
was the
on
only
Johnny
person.
Cash.
I think Briggs was the only person I was allowed to touch when we were there. When I was there, at least.
Yeah, well, rightfully so. When you've got a vet who's like a longtime fixture somewhere, but even so, like DBs, and there's supposed to be like country music Thursday, and then like a trap music Friday, and then like there's some older guys that like I like rap music, but this shit you can't blame me. I know you go okay boomer me, but I don't want to hear some of this new music.
I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I stopped listening.
Well, don't you think once
Chris.
a week they should lose the Augs?
No, we should just listen to Action Bronson every day, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Look,
Action. Shout out to Action, friend of the programs. Fuck it, we'll call him friend of the program.
What I was gonna say is, we used to do it in the weight room where it would be like, we'd call it White Guy Wednesday.
White Guy Wednesday.
Country music, Linkin Park, like stuff that you would never hear.
You only hear Linkin Park on Hard Knocks.
And it's the worst day. It was the worst day. You can't
No, I don't want to hear that shit.
Stuff.
No, I don't want to hear it either. But my thing is like when Fletcher Cox goes and changes the radio to Stapleton, which is not pop country. Me and Fletcher Cox used to sit in the corner of the room and listen to Death Row before and Death Row, not the hip hop group, Death Row, the Stapleton song. Oh. So Fletch is a big country loving dude.
It's like Bobby Massey.
And Fletch would change the radio, and I'd see like Jalen Mills go change the radio off of Fletch, and I'm like, Bro, it wasn't your day, bro. Also, you're like 6 years younger than Fletch and half his size.
Do you guys have it in somebody's locker, or is it like in the equipment guy's
No,
room?
it'd be in the weight room. And then like a lot of times, like you have your Michael Bennett who's got his own personal thing, or LeGarrette Blount who's got his own personal thing. And in the locker room, that's how it usually went. Like you have your own personal thing. But in the weight room, it was bad. How about tough guy vets? I don't like vets that treat rookies like shit. I'm not a fan of.
Hate that.
Yeah. I mean, I hate that too. I used to tell people I'm not a fan of brother-in-law. I used to say the whole term of brother-in-law, and that usually comes from that vet.
Yeah.
That's a jerk.
Yeah, but you're talking about like practice, right? You're talking
I'm
about
talking
going
about in
to
the building.
well, when they say brother-in-law. Okay, so we're talking about you're saying brother-in-law, which is basically a term for guys not going as hard as they need to in practice because they're giving the older player a break or whatever.
Or because they're just lazy. Some people are just
Do
lazy.
you guys know how to practice together well when you were at the Bears?
Yeah.
Can we shed some light on the background
funny you
here?
say that.
Did you brother-in-law or did you not brother-in-law?
Well, let me speak on the bully, like the older guys just being hard-os.
Yes, let's start with that, and then I want to Nate Collins.
There's a real cultural issue there, and guys talk about, especially in the O-line community, I heard you guys talking about it earlier, guys aren't ready to play when they're in the league.
Yeah.
And it's a byproduct of what they were doing in college. It's not a byproduct of coaching. It's not any schemes.
Well, coaching is generally not good enough in the NFL from a positional standpoint.
Yes,
100%.
you're expected to know a lot on your own. But I would say if you're an older guy, like we had so many young guys in our room this year, I wasn't able to do as much from a physical standpoint to help. Yeah. But what I could do is build their confidence, invite them places, make them feel a part of the group. Because what's better than your weakest link being a hard ass, hard ass?
When I was in St. Louis, and we used to make the rookies get up and sing, and I have no problem with the rookies singing, but Jeff Fisher, when we did it, the one day he stopped the whole thing and was like, "Listen, that's the one thing I'm like, you're not going to get up and humiliate these guys because we need them to win."
Yeah.
And although I disagree with the singing thing, like in general, I need these guys to win. And if I respect you and treat you like a pro, you're going to act like a pro. If I treat you like a piece of shit, you're going to act like a piece of shit. And a lot of times these young guys, I also, on the flip side of the coin, have problems with guys that won't even like get the chicken. Like, you know, most rookies have to get chicken before an away trip.
Get
you
a Chick-fil-A Sunday morning, like that's all. Or
just you have one job. I know that you're a
simple.
practice squad guy and you were out getting drunk Friday night, or you're a rookie, you know you're not going to play, and you were out late and you're late to the Saturday morning meetings and you're scrambling getting on the bus. But you had one job, is to get the chicken. And on the flip side of things,
like we talked about earlier, bro. If you've never had to get the chicken, bro, like who are you to tell me to go get the chicken?
Well, listen, there's certain things you have to do, like a rookie dinner. I had a rookie dinner that cost me 20 racks because I was the first pick.
Yeah.
20 grand. I didn't blink because I knew if I didn't blink, they're not going to treat me like shit the rest of the year. There's places that you assert yourself. And in that same night, I hand the bill over, no problem. But there was one guy that kept grabbing Louis the 13th bottles like he was going to take them to go. Mm-hmm. Now I walked over to him and I said, that's quite enough. You know, like just very like, hey, listen, I respect you, but you're not going to be doing that.
We had a great dinner.
We had a great dinner. Don't ruin this right now. And like I think that's a perfect example.
Yo.
Rook.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to be smashing that bottle
100%
on the side of your car.
No, I get it.
So there's limitations. Like, listen,
which leads us into our next topic.
We cut hair, right? The rookies, by the way, and we used to fuck their hair up with.
I remember that.
They stopped. That.
Now we cut hair if a guy was willing to do it. Now if a guy has like dreads or long hair, like we're not doing it, bro. So I think everybody needs to, from a rookie and a vet perspective, when it comes to how you treat rookies, the hazing, or quote unquote, like hazing.
You can kind of choose. It's a pick your own adventure as a rookie.
Pick your own. Pick your difficulty. Do you want it to be? You play a lot of video games.
Like when I came in, I was like, y'all can do whatever you want.
Yeah, like put a tarantula in your bed.
Just don't go over the line.
Like put a tarantula in your bed.
Yeah, my rookie year, I'm in training camp. It still has not come out as to who it is, and that's how much gangsters these guys were.
Well, they put a tarantula in your bed. You got back
this big. I'm watching some.
We had a tarantula.
It was this big.
We had a tarantula.
It was
this
way
big.
The tarantula
set.
we seen from camp was way bigger than the one your brother brought on set. We had one here.
Yeah, I
touched a snake.
I was in my bed watching Sopranos.
Sure, you were watching Sopranos.
Year, AKA, you know what I was watching, and the spider was too, because he tapped me, and he was like, "Go back," right? That's what he said to me. But I was like, "Holy shit!" I jumped up out of bed, and I was at the end of the hallway in the dorm. All of a sudden, all the DBs, all the rookies are in my room with their phones out.
Yeah.
There is a tarantula in my bed.
Oh, for sure.
The next morning, everybody thought it was good. The second round pick, John Bostic, goes in his dop kit. Tarantula.
In his toiletry bag.
And somebody left a PetSmart bag in there too. So somebody went and bought tarantulas.
What happened to your tarantula?
I called the police. Or like poison control, like campus
You're like
security.
the woman with the sunglasses in the bay at the picnic.
I said, there's a tarantula in my bed. I don't know what to do with it.
There's a tarantula.
And they're like, there's no way there's a tarantula.
That's what they said.
There's no tarantulas in
get your guy over here.
Chicago.
Get animal control
I'm
over
not
here.
touching a tarantula. I got practice in the morning.
I touched a tarantula and I didn't have practice in the morning. And I'm not that tough.
Where was your tarantula?
Right here.
Right here.
I let him crawl all over my hands. See, I thought you watched the show.
I watched a few interviews. Have
you ever seen me on the show?
No.
See? He didn't see that
Here's
episode.
another one that annoys me. When you get back on the bus after a game, it's a free-for-all getting on the bus. There's no assigned seating. When you get back on the bus after the game, don't be the guy that takes 3 hours and goes to the bus you were on, the Quicks bus. There's 5 buses. And pops on bus 3, and you know you had a seat in the back left. This is my seat. This is where I rode over on the way over.
No, bro. I ride bus 2 every day.
But if you were a guy that took too long...
remember your seat.
Well,
it's the trickle down.
Is that not the way it is with you guys?
Well, in locker rooms I was in, it was get on the bus and find a seat.
Yeah.
I guess bus 2 in the Chicago Bears locker room, there are certain spots.
Me and Lane Johnson just played it by ear.
Yeah.
Playing music in the hotel when you're trying to sleep.
Hate that. Guys on FaceTime late.
Oh, just screaming on FaceTime.
You talking about like with roommates or like
no guys in the
like
next room? You're at the whatever shitty hotel you're.
I would never rat any of my teammates out for talking to a bunch of girls, but one of them talked to girls all night on FaceTime, and I'd hear different accents through the wall.
That's awesome,
and I respect it.
And still can go out and ball out. I'm assuming some guys don't need sleep.
No, what about I had a dude, Brian B. Price. Shout out to B. Price. He had like the sleep apnea, so he had a machine. And one night, and I thought the machine was bad. And one night he forgot the machine. I almost had to get a new room.
Oh yeah, dude. Well,
he was like I was scared. I was scared there was something wrong with him the way he was
sleeping.
Like,
in college, you remember Brian Leskinek? Yep. I had Brian sleep in the bathtub in camp, and I didn't feel bad about it because it was my problem. He's sleeping. He doesn't hear himself. I mean, like you got to go sleep in the bathtub, man. It just is what it is. I had Cliff Ryan, who was like a foghorn. And shout out to Cliff Ryan. Yeah, I'd like to get that machine. Have you heard about it?
We never did roommates.
No, well, after a couple years in the league, you can get out of that whole thing.
Yeah.
Another one I have is coaches in first class.
I have a huge issue with
Then
it.
let's get right into it.
That triggered me when you just said that.
Oh, my God.
It triggers
Not
me as
just
well.
coaches.
Oh, listen, the coaches don't deserve to sit in first class. You didn't do anything fucking physical. Why do you need the extra foot?
Bill Belichick deserves to be in first class.
I feel like head coach.
But the irony is Bill Belichick was not in first class. And I'll explain this real quick. When I was there in
but
2000...
that doesn't surprise me.
No, okay, so that's
either.
the point. If you're the guy with the biggest dick in the room, and I'm not saying this is a metaphor.
Bill Belichick, huge dick, by the way.
This is a metaphor. You don't need to drive the big truck, right? You don't need the truck that's, the old adage, like overcompensation. And Bill Belichick, the GOAT, used to sit and coach. Now, I don't know that it was like coach, but it wasn't first class.
He had an exit row, bro.
Not only he might have been the exit row, but this is a guy, and I had Pat's
They
fans.
had to get verbal consent from him.
Yes, for sure. I'm willing and able. Like, no, if you ask him if he's
on to take off,
he's like, we're on to take off. He's on to take off. He's like, God damn, fucking assholes. You just
I love his
get
hoodies,
the fucking plane off the ground. Hey.
You're almost as nice as him as just like making your own like sweat cutoffs.
Oh yeah, I actually
I
was one of the people that revolutionized the cutoff hoodies.
I can agree.
You can agree there, but you can attest. So Bill used to sit in the back, and we used to sleep.
Team equipment.
We used to sleep in the great company, man. we used to sit in the sleeper pods, bro. Like, and the only guys that sat in the back with the coaches were younger guys. Mm-hmm. And this was really cool. That's the only place I've been where coaches didn't take the first class themselves. And I know Pats fans, if you're listening, are like, and I had this after the Rosillo pod when I talked about it. You don't even know the Pats have their own plane, so this can't be true. In 2016, we didn't have our own plane, and he sat in the back. That's just a fact. And other coaches I've had, do not sit in the back. Coaches I like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, like it's a huge pet peeve of mine. You don't deserve it.
I absolutely think that high-tier coaches, coaching staff members should sit in the front. Their wives, the GM, the owners. Virginia McCaskey, absolutely. These are people, that's their team.
Virginia needs her own jet.
She needs a G5.
Does she have one?
No, she flies with the team.
Talk about some everyman
She
shit.
is the most blue-collar person I've ever met. Wakes up every morning.
Great name.
Wakes up every morning. Yeah. She goes to mass every morning, 5 a.m. Every morning. And then goes to the facility. She stops in. All she wants is the Bears to win. But back to the plane. You got dudes who are 350 pounds.
Sitting in
triple seats, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, dude. Get out of here with that.
Or like I sat by the door for 7 years.
Yeah.
With the big metal, and my head was like this. I mean, I couldn't sit up.
You got guys laying on the ground, guys with back spasms, guys with full body cramps on the way back from a game. Back there in coach, they're sitting there all crunched up.
And it's not that they're trying to do us dirty. It's just the way that the NFL's always been.
It's not a player's league.
And it's not something to like, let's consciously dick these guys.
I got plain envy when I look at baseball and basketball.
How many seats are really on? Like, how many first class seats are there really?
It's the most popular sport in America. Fucking get your own plane or stick the coaches in the back, because the coaches aren't riding 4 hours in a metal tube trying to stay hydrated and keep their hip flexors open before a 3-hour fucking battle royale with Todd Gurley and the Rams or the Niners and Ayupati. Like, come on.
Well, in Canada, bro, you meet at the airport and they hand you a ticket.
CFL. Is that it?
Did you guys meet at the airport?
You take flights with regular people, bro.
Really?
I promise. My first away game,
Air Canada,
dude.
Maple leaf on the side of your plane.
Yo, I'm sitting next to a mother and her daughter.
Yo, are you guys all on the same flight though?
Yeah, and there's other people, like they're filling that plane. It's not just you're not chartering your own flight.
Imagine sitting next to an angry
It depends on the organization. When I was at
Winnipeg, what about Winnipeg? They're the Jets. They don't even have their own jet.
That's the hockey team.
Unbelievable.
We're the Blue Bombers.
The Blue Bombers. That's also a plane though.
They fly a B-52 to all
Just you need to fly a fucking B-52 to your game.
They've got a naked lady painted on the side.
Do you guys have any more pet peeves?
Yeah, but I mean, how much time you got?
I mean, give me your best one. You guys both get one more.
They do veggie lasagna at the cafeteria, and this is kind of like a weirdly specific one.
This
but
is a big guy pet peeve.
This is like, come on, dude, veggie lasagna. I've stood by the veggie lasagna in the calf before, and I've counted the number of people who ate it. I've stood there the entirety of lunch.
Did you have a counter? Or
being on IR, you're like, you have nothing but time. So it's like,
did you count in your head?
Yeah, none, nobody, no clicks. Didn't even need to buy a clicker, dude.
0.
Oh, this is a big one. Probably wet socks or damp socks.
Oof.
Yeah, who likes damp socks?
Or when they dry your cleats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the same thing.
Like
and you get them.
There's no better way to do it though.
And I'm not knocking Tony Medlin, the best in the business, but
T-Med.
You can't make magic happen.
I'm gonna say players that leave a bunch of trash everywhere. We've all done it once or twice. You're in the building 12 hours a day. You're taking tape off. You're hydrating. There's water bottles. Just don't be a fucking dickhead about it. You're paid millions of dollars. Have respect. Clean up after yourself. Ed Reed said it really well. It was a great speech.
Love it. You're low life.
Now listen, I am a low life in that me and Michael Bennett, lockers next to each other, talk about a lot of interesting conversations.
We call that your neighborhood.
My neighborhood is as dirty as I want it to be.
Communal trash can that Buddy has to change every day. And like
in me and Mike's cul-de-sac, there were like pieces of burning trash. There were like abandoned houses. There was like crime.
I lived in
trapping out the band.
I was the black market until the Blockbuster trade or signing of Khalil Mack, and when he moved in next door, there's we have like 8 lockers between us.
That's pretty damn
There's
cool.
a security guard in front of the locker.
That's amazing. They didn't have any security. What they really needed to do was a security guard between me and Mike, so we didn't get too mad at each other arguing over stupid shit every day. But William Hayes was my favorite locker mate of all time, for the record.
Big Hayes.
Let's do 5 stadiums, 5 favorite stadiums that you play. We're not gonna have to get time to get to them all. Nate, you can chime in. My 5. I don't know if it's in order. I'm gonna go with my 5 being Seattle. I played there for 8 years, only won once, but I loved playing there every year. Iconic noise, I think it's the loudest, toughest place to play. The weather is, you can just, if it was Madden, it was a default setting, 43, light rain, and a bunch of crazy ass hipster looking people.
The arrow on the field goal's going like this, like a little bit.
They're like, it's fucking loud. You know, they raise the flag, and I mean, it's just a cool place. And we had some battles there. Marshawn Lynch, that whole group, Tom Cable, O-lines, Russell Wilson, and they always made a play late in the game. It'd be close, and they made one big defensive play, or Russell would have. But it was the loudest place. It's a beautiful city, and it was a lot of fun to play. And I imagine if I won there a lot, I liked it even more. Orchard Park might be my favorite. I think that's what they call it still, right? It's not Orchard. It's not the old Orchard Park Stadium. This is in Buffalo.
I have no idea.
Buffalo Stadium is like a college stadium, bro. It's one of those places that looks way bigger on TV, right?
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Like the old Minnesota Gophers Stadium where the Vikings played.
Yes. I mean, like, it's just the scale is hard to judge. It's a cozy place.
It's an intimate rocket setting.
You get batteries thrown at you on the bus. You get dildos thrown at you on the field.
Amazing.
Purple dildos, landing on the 15, bouncing to the 20. You've got referees having to handle them.
I remember
You
that.
have drunk, obese dudes in sub-zero temperatures, and you got fans that have all they've done is survive the 3 falls of Buffalo and perpetual losing, and they show up every week and they're fucking crazy. Candlestick for me was on the other coast, a lot like Orchard Park in a lot of ways. Raw energy, old locker rooms. Something about going to the West Coast to play. It's just fun, man. You're just like,
it's almost a vacation.
And all the stadiums happen to be old school, save for Seattle. I never would let my mom or my wife wear Rams clothes those games. That was a big no-no. I actually hired a cop to go with my mom and my wife most games.
That's bread.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Humble brag. I mean, he's been doing this.
Well, I guess you guys don't give a shit about your wives and girlfriends. See how I
What's your
flipped
next
that on
stadium,
you?
Chris?
My next stadium is the Coliseum in LA. Now I only played there a few times, but it was always cool because Pops played there.
Many reasons to enjoy that.
And I remember being like tiny and seeing memories of that place. The stadium.
That was my first college start.
Really? Yeah.
Coliseum.
Oh, I remember that. I was I at that game? I was at that game.
Yeah.
I was in those fucking concrete, stands. Listen, the stadium is a piece of shit. But the moral of the story is, if you're going to have a bad stadium, just put a giant flame up there.
You talking about the Rams?
You put the flame up there in the end zone,
Raiders?
and you're like, this place is important. Something's going on here. I used to be playing in the game.
The baseball field?
No, I'm talking about the LA Coliseum.
Yeah.
Oh,
or USC.
You go there and you'd look up, and I felt the history because my pops played there and stuff. And also when I played there, I was playing against my old team. So those 2 wins,
And they had the
they
Olympics
were pretty
there, and like
yes, and
it's a majestic place.
It's a majestic place. It's got a vibe, although usually it was an away team vibe more than anything. The Rams had to go on silent count against us in 17.
I can't imagine that.
Pretty cool. I also like the Soldier Field. You've heard of that one, Kyle. And of course, the pretext of this whole segment, I think is the right word, is that we can't say our own stadium. So I'm not going to say the Link. I'm not going to say Gillette. Not going to say Edward Jones Dome, although that's got a lot of charm.
What a shit.
Stop it. Soldier Field.
I hate the Ed Jones Dome.
Okay, anyways, the lighting was the biggest problem there. It was like that yellow lighting.
Their team, they were a bunch of gangsters. I hated playing them.
We were tough.
I don't know the name of it. What's the Texans field's name?
Energy.
I like that. They
misspelled.
NRG.
But I love
the grass.
Yeah, they do have rolled grass. Arizona's nice as well, because anytime you go to Arizona, you're like, this air is just
It's
so...
a beautiful stadium, Arizona.
It's a beautiful stadium, but it lacks the vibe that like a Soldier Field has. The columns, the history. Double Doink. That was cool too. Kyle, do you have any stadiums that you like?
The first one that comes to mind is Lambeau.
Not going to be popular with the Bears listeners.
Yeah, but you know what? They're like a close relative that we...
Okay.
Lambeau?
Yeah, I love Lambeau
You
Field.
can't say that, bro.
I love Lambeau
No,
Field.
Lambeau's cool. I mean, if
you're a football fan and you're going to tell me straight to my face that you don't have an appreciation for the history of Lambeau Field, then I'm going to call
you're
you
full of shit.
A bullshitter.
Not
you're
with the
full of
Bears
shit.
hat on.
No, you're full of shit. I mean, like
I've been on teams that have beaten the Packers at Lambeau.
I think my big...
So like that I have some good memories there. Monday night games, we've done awesome games there.
You've heard a lot of
yeah.
Go Pack,
dude.
go.
They
and you're just like, again?
I just want to
See, a
bang
lot of-
on your drum all day. They
I've never
play
seen
that.
so many chicks pack dips too.
This conversation.
Yeah, a lot of nicotine and a lot of fatties.
This is a pet peeve playing Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'll add that to my
That was the pet peeve. Just playing that robot at home, especially.
Number 2 for me is, and I did mine in order, is Heinz Field.
Okay.
And a lot of mine are just because of my experiences. And I remember playing Troy Polamalu there.
Yeah.
And
I was my red shirt at Heinz Field.
I was a rookie.
You did you burned your red shirt?
Your senior year.
Against Pitt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a cool place. And in the same sense that like University of Washington, they can pull the boats up, like watch the games when the weather's right.
Yeah.
That's what they do in Pittsburgh. You don't think of Pittsburgh as that.
No, I see why it's in there. I like the listen. I think it's cool that here's one underrated thing about Pittsburgh, and it's kind of like Philly. All the sports teams are black and yellow, and I think that's super cool, right? In Philly, all the sports complexes are right downtown. That's really cool too. And in Pittsburgh, they play sticks. That's the coolest part of that stadium. The rivers are cool, but
when Renegade comes on, yeah,
and you're like, holy shit, they're excited. I'm excited too.
Dude, that team was good, and I remember playing them and being like, okay, I'm in the NFL. Troy Polamalu is up in the A gap on the goal line, and I remember, funny story. I said we scored on a run play. He bluffed and dropped out.
Yeah, and
we scored in the A gap, and I ran up to him. I said, I thought you were coming. He goes, so did I. And I said, oh my God, that's a Troy Polamalu shot. It's like,
oh my God, yeah, he's one of those people that
just murdering people.
Another guy on that team who doesn't sound the way they look is James Harrison. High pitched voice,
I never heard him talk,
but one of the baddest motherfuckers that I've ever seen play football.
Number 3, Levi's Stadium. We played there on their first game, the maiden voyage of Levi. We Titanicked Levi's Stadium.
I think you Jack Sparrowed it.
Yeah, well,
not Jack. Did you beat him?
Oh, we did.
So you Jack Sparrowed it.
I'll never forget that Saturday night, or that Saturday
Cutler was
night
balling
when the Kaepernick that we were talking about. I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Future or OT Genesis when like Tony Montana was out and they had him live on the sideline. That's what they used to come out to like for their kickoff. And I've never seen a stadium.
The kickoff thing. The kickoff thing. Yeah,
yes,
the kickoff thing was tight.
But like he's performing, like
on the sideline.
On the sideline.
But yo,
not during TV timeout.
No,
dude, listen.
I'll never forget that. That was like amp.
You can't replace Candlestick with a jeans name brand stadium. You just can't. Candlestick was just so fucking.
I like
live.
Levi's Stadium because we wore them out.
But the away locker room was pretty trashy.
Oh yeah, and Candlestick. Yes. You remember it was right back behind by that door that was like right out. Like there was like parking lot.
Like someone could reach in there and punch you in the face.
Yeah, you could be walking out of the locker room just to catch some air or to go like to do a number 2, and you could get just beat up in the locker room.
It's right there for like the away team.
They got some beautiful cypress trees right out there in the parking lot. I remember it was at the end of the hallway. You go down 2 steps, then you go down 2 steps again, and you're out the tunnel immediately. So you have Levi's third. What do you have?
U.S. Bank, and all these stadiums are ones that we've won at. I mean, I remember playing at U.S. Bank last year. We knocked them out of the playoffs, and we clinched. The Gallarhorn, amazing.
You actually know the name of it
somewhere, and I don't know if I could spell it. GJ, I think.
It's Nordic, so yeah, throw
GJ?
a J in there.
Is it GJ? Gallarhorn? All I know is that when that noise comes on, and I'm not rooting for the Vikings.
No.
When that noise comes on, my blood pumps faster.
It's that would be what's called.
You might be a Viking.
I start looking for
that's what that's
sword.
Called. Yeah. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
I gotta go pillage.
It's like when a dog hears a wolf on a TV and it's like, oh, the song of my people.
Yeah, exactly. It's primal. Yeah. Is the word, I think.
Another primal thing, Tampa Bay, my next stadium.
Because you're a pirate?
Because when the cannon goes off.
Man, that cannon, bro. There's nothing like losing to the Bucs.
You said
period.
A fire makes it seem important. Well, how about a fucking pirate ship?
Yeah, a pirate ship is going to really...
ECU.
Listen, when you go to G Vegas and we went and lost, a lot of people have gone to G Vegas thinking they're going to get a win.
Yes.
And they're not.
They're
Their
not.
quarterback was really good.
I totally support pirate ships, and you guys, this might be a little, what's the word? I think it's esoteric would be the word, not exoteric, because only the people here know about it. But when you watch End Zone tape of Tampa, you can always see that shitty grass parking lot above the scoreboard.
There's always a truck in the back left. Okay, so now that we're on that topic.
Nobody talks about it. We just sit there and watch Jameis Winston field. You're like falling asleep at meetings. You're like, can Tampa Bay get a real fucking parking lot? You've got dudes parking under a palm tree. By the way, North Florida, you also have Jacksonville, which has a pool that's at least 30% filled with piss.
Urinating.
Yo, Don't talk about Duval.
Listen, the pool is disgusting.
Are there other people that you've seen on film, Chris?
It's chlorine.
We need to go to the pool.
It's chlorine.
We need to go to the pool.
Like, I'll definitely go back to
Which
Jacksonville.
pool?
In Jacksonville?
No way. I'm not going
In
to Jacksonville.
Why?
Quick way to get...
Chris almost got arrested in Jacksonville when he was 17.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've talked about that on the show with McGrain. I tried to buy Swisher Sweets. I was actually like 15.
Unbelievable. You ruined our vacation.
You were on vacation with mom and dad when
we
that
had to
happened?
come home early.
You really didn't have to come home early. That's the thing. Just mom and dad freaking out.
Somebody had to set the record straight with you.
Well, I turned out okay. I got my own podcast, so as far as I can tell, all that shit doesn't matter.
Let them know, Chris.
Another one I want to put in honorable mention for just being talked about is Dallas. I'm not a big fan of, but it's like you feel like you're a character in the Hunger Games and everybody's watching you and you're just this piece of meat behind the glass and like...
And you don't
feel that walk through the bar?
Yeah, and you walk through the bars at the bottom. By the way, the tunnel to get in, the buses go about a mile, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get in and you walk out of the glass and everybody's like, animals! Loose to the Cowboys, animals! The animals are here!
This is our year.
Yeah. And then like all it's missing is Jabba the Hutt up there, like with the cheerleaders spinning around on. They're like the cheerleaders are on like platforms that if they fell off of, and I don't know if this is true. This is in my mind's eye. Is this how it is? Really? Do you remember it?
Well,
this
it's like
way?
in the Duke Nukem game with the dancers and the
played
smoke
in it?
cages.
Exactly in Duke Nukem
With the
You ever played
pigs with
there?
the shotgun.
in Dallas. Yeah.
Yo,
That's
what
Dallas.
about how they put...
They got a Ford truck spinning around on a fucking
How
like
about your family?
rappelling.
They have a dealership.
How
in
about
the
your
end
family
zone.
is like legit like 2 miles away from the field, the family section for
Oh,
your white team?
It's terrible.
No, that was a game that Dad was able to go to.
Yeah.
And, Dad works on Sundays, so when he can come to the game, it's Monday or Thursday.
Yeah.
And Dad was in the dugout suite right there in the end zone.
Yeah.
I remember we got our asses kicked, but it was super cool to see him. And it was like, I'd break the huddle, turn,
Be like,
and I'd make
is
eye
this
contact.
good enough, Dad?
You can relate. That's really how it is.
You break the huddle and you're like,
You look at him and you give him the nod, and he's like, that's good
see,
enough.
that's the thing. I'm not gonna.
Cheat code.
Remember, you're the lab.
That's the super cool.
That's
You're
what
the lab.
Serena, that's
I'm
what
like, "Arr, I don't
Serena
fucking
Williams'
care."
coach
I'm
got
like
in
the
trouble
pit.
for that during the match.
I need the
doing
pat
that.
on the head. You
Yeah.
know?
Doing that quick thumbs up that your dad gave you. That's what Serena Williams, she got in trouble in her last, like one of her last
Damn,
matches.
dude.
What'd they say?
They're out to get Serena.
Like that's cheating. That's
Let's-
a cheat code. You
let's-
can't just get tips from your
just
dad.
can't
during
get
the
thumbs
game.
ups?
No.
This
you
is a
can't.
baseball and a football podcast. We watch baseball. We talk football. I'm not really into to golf.
Okay.
Nice con attempt, but let's continue.
I'm gonna go.
He tried to get you, bro.
I'm gonna go with. Oakland has a baseball field in the middle, and you don't want to fall on it.
I thought it was just an infield, and they didn't have an outfield.
Listen, at the end of the day,
That's what I thought you were talking about earlier.
you're worried about falling on that field. Like if you're gonna make a tackle, you're
you're not trying
this
to.
is gonna hurt.
You're not trying to.
I wonder what the stat is, and maybe somebody can pull this up. Missed tackles by yard line in that stadium. I bet you people are missing a lot of tackles midfield because they're trying to arm tackle. They don't want to lay out and land on that fucking sandlot.
Or how much
situation.
How much
Or explosive
dead skin,
runs, 'cause
or how
D-linemen
much
can't
dead
dig
skin
in.
is on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, you can't. How do you dig in with your cleats? Like you're
can't.
Frank Thomas. Like, sorry, bro.
Ken Caminiti.
Like you're fucking on the hot corner. Like you're another third
Ryan
baseman.
Zimmerman.
Ryan Zimmerman.
good one.
Oh yeah.
Wahoo
Wow,
wah.
wahoo,
Yeah.
wah. That was a good one.
Okay, so let's do
like that?
5 most intimidating linemen we've played against or with. Kyle, you can start off. You'll do D lineman. I'll do O lineman.
We'll go bang, 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 like back and forth.
I think you do your whole list.
Greg Hardy. Enough said.
East-West Triangle
Jeremiah
roommate.
Ratliff.
Jeremiah Ratliff. Absolutely.
So Jeremiah Ratliff, when he came to the Chicago Bears, I had heard that a guy was coming to our team who had planted grown men on walls that told him things he didn't want. And I said, "There's no way this guy exists." And I'm in the training room busting balls with the trainers and shit. And they always walk the new guys in the training room.
Uh-huh.
And in walks him. And I turned to somebody else and I was like, "Does he play O-line or D-line?" And somebody was like, "That's the new D tackle, Jeremiah Ratliff." And things got very, very real for me.
That's the human forklift that's going to put you up in your locker.
His beard was like Rick. It was like he had the Rick Ross beard, but then he had like the Xerxes build. Like the dude was just cut from an oak tree.
Yes.
And not only that, he was the angriest motherfucker I'd ever played with. Just grumpy old man.
And not to and we both had really good dealings with Jeremiah.
I love Jeremiah.
Or Jay, depending on. This is another thing. the motherfucker changed his name, and you better respect it.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell him
that his name's not Jeremiah.
No, and his locker was next to mine because Tressman always put everybody.
What do you want your name to be today, sir?
And every once in a while, I'd be like, Rat, whatever you want to do, you tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want me to be a guy, but if you whatever you want today, and he's like, hey man, let's just keep this thing civil.
And this is Jeremiah Ratliff. This is Jeremiah Ratliff Day. I thought it was yesterday. No, it's every day. Buddy.
And he was
I just want you to be happy.
He was such a great player.
Yeah, he was a really good player, man.
And I heard he was 5 times better when he was in Dallas.
Oh, he was a stud in Dallas.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Oh.
Sue in Detroit. Another guy I had to play early in my career. Brett Kiesel pushed me over piles and laughed at me.
We had him on the show the other
When I called him out, I was like, really? And he was like laughing at me. I was a little kid. He's just shoving me around.
He was super cool on the show the other day. I did not expect him to be that shell. He evidently was not on the field.
Cliff Averill in Seattle, one of your favorite guys and stadiums.
Cliff. Counterparts here. Same draft class.
Jimmy Clausen was playing quarterback. Jay was hurt. I forget what he was hurt with. Yeah. And Cliff Averill, it was like 2-minute drill. We've been throwing since the first quarter because we're down by 40.
Right.
And Cliff hasn't gotten a sack yet. And he's smiling because he knows he's going to get one.
Right.
And he's telling me, I'm going to get it.
Man, rushing in Seattle had to be cool.
And him and Mike Bennett next to each other.
In a 40
with
alignment.
The 7 technique and a 9 technique presents so many more issues to offensive linemen than you can think of.
Yes.
It's where the D tackle and the D end line up both outside the tackle.
But Mike is going to rush the way he wants to rush.
And Cliff can vibe off that.
When Mike came out with his book, Things That Make White People Uncomfortable, and by the way, he's a great buddy of mine. I used to tell him, I think you should write a book called How to Make White Pass Rushers Uncomfortable because you're always in my fucking rush lane. Like, he lines up outside the tackle, and I'm like, bro, I don't know if you realize this. Like, I'm 33 now. This isn't like when you were with Cliff Averill, and, I could just, I have power. I do power stuff. I do inside moves. I would say it's a great under the radar pick and Cliff.
And honorable mentions, I would say Troy because he played on the line of scrimmage so much. Paul Malu. I would also say Justin Smith and my guys Akeem and Khalil.
Man, Justin Smith should have been at the top of the list. My man has a tiny Anheuser-Busch tattoo.
The smallest. And he was Vic Fangio's #1 goon for a long time.
Yo, you're a clown.
No, the tattoo just means that, like,
what does that mean?
The smaller the
whatever
tattoo,
it means is that he is like
huge man.
That you load that guy up with Anheuser-Busch products, he's gonna beat up a grizzly bear.
I saw him last year for the first time in 7 years. So Vic was our defensive coordinator for the Bears, and obviously historically successful D coordinator. He was Justin's guy in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The game at Levi's when we beat him, I had the assignment to trap block him.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I have to kill this guy because if I don't kill him, he can get up and kill me. And he didn't see me coming. I hit him good, and he left his feet.
Yeah.
There's nothing he could have done.
No.
When I saw him next was last year in the tunnel after a game. Hey, Long! And I turned, and a giant cowboy was coming at me in the parking structure. And he's like, I owe you an ass whooping for that trap in 2013. And my mom was with me, and she's like, do you know him? And I was like, that's Justin Smith.
No, it's a fucking rancher, Mom. It's just a rancher
he
that
is
magically
huge still.
Bro, you're like, he's like, I remember back at the Alamo, I owe you that one. You hit me with that with that musket.
Respect, Justin.
Yeah.
Badass.
Total badass. I would have thought he'd been on the top of the list. Obviously, the guys you mentioned at the end are total badass as well. I'm going to go with Steve Hutchinson, who I played in Minnesota. He has a head the size of a smart car. Easily, if I have any tau protein, at least 33% is from lining up in a 3 technique 1 play and having to bang heads with him. I mean, he's just got one of those domes. Yonda, by the way, is one of the most underrated players in the history of the game.
Greatness.
A Hall of Famer for sure, and a Super Bowl this year would put the the cherry on top.
You're really rolling with them.
I'm burning the ships. It's a lot like Virginia over Tech.
Prior to him hurting his ankle, and he's still elite right now. Prior to him hurting his ankle, I think he was in the running for the best player in football.
Now, I agree with you. Now, here's
and you would never give that to
relative to his position, and we get in the same thing with Quentin Nelson. Is like just because you're a guard doesn't mean you can be the best. If you could define the best player in football, I think a lot of it is based on the distance between you and the second best player. And for those two guys at different times, the distance has been sizable. Yeah. But for me, it's like that he's this psychotic children of the corn looking ass dude that just, it's like he spawned out of a cornfield and
He's all
rode a
football.
tractor to the game, and all he's going to do is keep a fucking hand on you for 60 minutes. He's never going to leave you alone, and he never gets mad. He just gets even, and he does not stop. And that's the most uncomfortable thing for D lineman, is a guy that will not stop. The last little shove, it doesn't have to be dirty shit, not talking shit. He's just always going to be right behind you. After the play, you're like,
Yep.
somebody just pushed me, and he's just looking at you, and he's like, walks back to the huddle. You know, he's like, walks back to the huddle.
When I first met him,
hammers an ear of corn.
when I first met him, I'd only see him on film, Chris.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how he was. And I said, Marshall, I'm Kyle. Nice to meet you. And he turned to me and he goes, we were on the way to the Pro Bowl on the bus. And he was like, don't talk to me before the game. And not in a mean way. In like a, I just don't like to talk before the game. And after the game, he walked up and was like, hey, man, I did nothing personal. Like, I'm just getting ready for the game. Very professional
Yes,
and
dude,
respectful.
that's him. That's him.
lit.
There's nothing.
That's lit.
And it's just
And I
like on the
get it
field. There's
now.
no ill
Yeah.
will.
That's how he's wired.
He's just wired, bro, to be a little different. And
Hats off to Marshall. He's
Olin Kreutz. He's on my list high.
No, that
I mean,
is-
he was
that's-
in the league.
That was a few of our guys like God.
yeah. When
Like,
when
that
we
was-
got
that
to the
was-
Bears, that's
That's what they were modeling.
Nightmare.
That's what they were trying to model him after. Everyone is like, yeah, you need to be like,
I'll never be Olin Kreutz.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? You've been pretty good. And
Olin is the baddest motherfucker that I've been around.
yes, dude. His name rings bells. Let's put it that way.
Rings bells. And his fist
Dr. Dre.
as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Wayne Hunter, he was a guy I played with for the Rams. A lot of people might not know Wayne Hunter. Look up Wayne Hunter. Physically as imposing as anybody I've been around, and a guy that you did not want the switch to flip. Harvey Dahl was another one who was Yonda-ish in Atlanta for a long time. At guard, would not leave you alone. Complete psycho. Looks like, Christopher McCandless coming out of the woods and into the wild, just
bus.
like, yeah, like he lives on a bus in Alaska. And then after he played, and we were teammates, and I loved him. I loved playing with him. That's how it is with these guys who don't leave you alone. But after he played, he dropped down to like 200 pounds.
Dahl?
Yeah, then he started to look like Christopher McCandless 3 weeks in.
So he's somewhere between Hardwick and McCandless.
Yeah, something like that.
And I love
Joe
Hardwick's
Thomas
transition.
lost a lot of weight too.
Joe Thomas, but Joe
so
Thomas
lean.
looks like he's swole. Harvey just got like kind of, bruh.
Like he's just been catching
Like he
waves
looked
and good
better.
vibes.
Stewart was the guy in Tennessee for a long time. Number 76, he was a big right tackle. He was dirty. And he was also, he didn't intimidate me because I actually, one year I was supposed to play him. I really wanted to play him because I thought I could have gotten after his ass. He was top heavy, but he was a guy that you knew would do some dirty shit. And I imagine he talks like the guy in Men in Black.
Have you seen my cat? Have you seen my cat? Sugar, more water, sugar.
My guy works there's a guy in Charlottesville that works at the gas stations that talks like that.
Well, I got to go find him
Yeah,
because he might be the guy from the Titans.
might be.
He's a guy that I
Stewart.
wonder what he's doing after games. Kyle, quick lightning round before we let you go, because
Okay.
this is a mega pod extravaganza for people on Saturday mornings after Thanksgiving. I want you to explain something to me because you're a huge fucking nerd when it comes to video games and
I'm
technology.
assuming you're saying that in an endearing way.
It's an
Yeah.
endearing
Okay.
statement. You see, we have a lot of machinery back here. Can you name any of this equipment that we have back here?
Tripod.
Mm.
Microphone.
Camera.
But that's not back there.
Camera 2.
Camera 1, camera 2. I know there's some mixers back there.
Mixers,
I saw
you got
those.
it. So when you get on your can you explain to the people at home what you do in your basement most of the time?
So I don't do it in my basement.
Oh, you've upgraded.
Okay. So I enjoy playing PC games. I've always been into video games. I don't know why this is so funny.
Oh, sorry, I read a funny text. It had nothing to do with you.
And Chris has always loved to make fun of me for it. But we're both big nerds in the sense that we like to play video games. If you want to say
Yeah.
that people that play video games are nerds, sure.
Cross-platform.
So what's the
now, though.
difference? Yeah, I mean, because when I see somebody
What I
with an
enjoy-
Alienware laptop, I'm like, wait, you play video games on your laptop? But I get it.
I enjoy the PC gaming because I'm not good at aiming with sticks.
You're not good with the joystick.
No, my hands are too big or I just can't figure it out. But I like the mouse and keyboard. As a young kid, I played Counter-Strike, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that play games that grew up playing Counter-Strike without even realizing they did. And then, you
mean like, was Counter-Strike, did other games rip off Counter-Strike? What do you mean? Because I didn't play Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike was a first-person shooter that a lot of people played that had computer. Like, if their parents had a computer at home, it was an easy game to get on Steam.
I had Swamp Gas. Do you remember that game?
I had Icy Tower.
I had Sim City, which, by the way...
Sim City, yeah.
Remember Icy Tower?
No.
Damn, you guys never...
I also enjoyed like games from my childhood. To date myself was like easily I was damn near grown up when Crash Bandicoot came out, etc. But you play these games like I see you playing games, and by the way, you Twitch, which is evidently where you get online and people listen to you talk.
I have streamed on Twitch. I do have a Twitch channel. It's essentially like having a podcast while you're playing games, and really for me, it takes off a lot of the pressure and like.
Because there is a lot of pressure. Because if you die in the video game,
well, it takes away
serious.
It takes away a lot of the pressure of having a camera on in front of me, and it gives me an opportunity to interact with people. I've also been able to help Water Boys, which is
well, we appreciate that. By the way, to your credit, and you've been great for Water Boys. You have raised a lot of money, a lot of ducats, and not Twitch. Bitcoin, real money on Twitch.
Yo, stop it.
I knew I'd do that because he's a big Bitcoin guy. He used to have a Bitcoin place.
I have interest in this Bitcoin stuff. I don't know what it is. I'm sure I'm going to get just lambasted.
Let's just stick to the video games.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So I watch you play these games, and it's basically a guy running around with a backpack across some expansive landscape. He's like, I found some apples. And there's like 10 points. And you're like,
I have found myself...
Digital currency.
I have found myself drawn to games where I can immerse myself in the landscape. So there's one game that I've really been into is DayZ, and it's in a post-apocalyptic Soviet rundown, imagine 36 by 36 kilometers, 36 kilometers squared.
Has to be kilometers because it's the red.
It's Euro, baby.
Yeah.
It's the red country.
The red country.
And just essentially, looting, shooting, and scooting, baby. Like, it's just a lot of fun. It's high risk, high reward. Because if you get shot in these games, you lose all your gear,
and that can be tough. Because I've seen you pick up a lot of like wrenches and milk and different loose weaponry that's just laying around these.
You got to build this stuff, so it's like you may find a magazine, you may find some rounds that don't match the magazine.
So it's different than GTA though.
It's a lot different. GTA is so casual, just hop on, play, like enter a cheat or whatever, and you got all the guns, you got all the cars.
I feel like that was a diss. Do you feel like you escape into this imaginary world because you don't like this world so much?
I think it does. It's honestly an escape. It's like that Black Mirror stuff. I mean, that's the society we're in today.
Yeah.
You know what Black Mirror is?
Yeah, it's where you shut your phone off and you're staring into your iPhone.
Yeah. Well, but all of it.
That's
all
all.
media,
everything here is a Black Mirror, but it's working
it's
right
off.
now.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but
so Chris,
what you're describing is the Bloody Mary thing where you stand.
When you shut your phone off,
it's a Black Mirror.
I don't know what you mean. No,
Chris,
that's a TV.
Chris, look at me.
And when it's off, it's a Black Mirror.
No, not really. It's not a great mirror. I can't see.
Okay, look into my phone. What is it?
Black Mirror.
I see your screen.
Smart ass.
I see your dog, your German Shepherd that you're training to like. Never mind. I mean, like you have a German Shepherd that you take, by the way, for the listeners out there, to some training facility that has a bunch of karate style trophies on the wall, and there's like a real owner, and like Kyle's in there holding the dog back, and it's like bear, no, attack, bear.
No, I think it's
sit. The dog is in Virginia now. I met the dog the other day. The dog is down in an office downstairs. I asked the dog to sit. The dog didn't sit.
Doesn't listen to you.
I didn't see this happen.
My dogs only listen to my wife, unfortunately.
Well, Kyle's dogs evidently only listen to the guy in a fucking gi with a bunch of trophies on the wall.
With a balaclava on.
With a balaclava on, who's teaching him how to, like, attack intruders. The intruder is going to be really upset when the intruder makes his way through the dog, and then you're at the bottom of the stairs. It's like, fuck.
This is the boss, not the last one.
This is the boss. Speaking of bosses in video games, are there bosses in these games you play?
No, well, essentially it's all PvP, so it's player versus player.
Obviously.
And the boss is the guy who is very patient and very tactical. And that's different. These are different.
What does
things.
ASL mean?
Age, sex, location. I believe.
Kyle, I know that. I grew up in the AOL era. What is the word ASMR mean? The acronym. Explain what you were explaining.
I think it's auditory stimulation, massage, and relaxation, or something like that, where people.
So basically a noise that makes you feel good.
It'd be like, hey Chris, we have great mics, and we don't even have to talk
that's
loud.
right.
No, the cool thing about it is like I can sit here and play my RPG game.
We could yell at each other, Chris, and nobody would hear us.
You're a fucking nerd.
ASMR.
So the people you're telling me about people,
there are
Nate, you can't do it. Your mic's different.
This mic's better, so like I can touch it and you can hear it. And you can almost feel it.
It's like another sense.
People have like ceramics and stuff, and they put it up to the this is pages flipping, and like people will watch
people
YouTube
pay to
videos.
watch that shit.
Yeah.
You said something about women's fingernails.
So like fingernails, tapping stuff, scratching like ceramics.
Here's a better one for you.
I'm gonna start an ASMR channel and make it really soothing for a while, and then get people roped in and just be like, "Fuck!" And the guy's gonna be like, but hopefully not jacking off, but like, like getting into it,
ruined,
and then just ruin their entire experience.
What about mukbang? Have you seen that?
What?
Mukbang?
I think something else. I think we're going sideways.
I heard what he said, and I'm still like,
we're going sideways.
It's just when they
before we get off
food.
I'm not Nate. I don't want to know what
just eating.
mukbanging or muff banging is.
People pay to watch other people just eat.
Really?
Yes, like people like who are on diets and stuff.
So it's like cuckolding for.
Oh my god!
For people on diets, yes, it is. It is.
So Kyle, you have a giant race car bed, right? Is that correct?
I do. I enjoy driving and motorsports,
but not driving in real life. You drive fake cars.
I'm not allowed to drive in real life because I'm contractually.
So you can say you don't enjoy driving. You just drive.
I have a simulator at my house. Essentially, imagine sitting in an F1 car, take the wheels off.
It's easy for me to imagine.
Well, I mean, it's like, you get in and I have triple monitors, so like wraps around me, and it's essentially like you're driving, and it's, it's as close to the real thing as you can.
They did there's a racer now. There's a racer now. There's like, I think he's black. He started like in Europe, and this simulator got him he's really racing now.
So Kyle, do you think you can race one day?
I 100% can race.
That's
But
crazy.
what about the fact that the cars would have to get larger?
That's what I was just about to say.
It's like the Derek Zoolander car for kids who don't drive good in small cars.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that would definitely affect it though, right?
Like Baja trucks.
Your bottom speed will affect though, right?
I don't know if you know this. Dad did racing.
Dad, yeah. I mean, like, enough about
racing?
Dad, Kyle. We get
Seriously,
it. You love Dad.
There's racing that doesn't involve mini cars.
Dad doesn't give a shit about your video games, bro. I was talking to him the other night, and he said, I don't give a shit about his video games.
He said, screw those games.
No, he just was like, it's not even real racing. It's
quit acting like a
car.
damn dinosaur.
Kyle's on these damn fake race cars hanging out with Dale Jr. But you do hang out with some people on there.
I would say that the opportunities afforded to me through the internet and gaming have been so awesome, and it's been an experience for me and a ride that I don't want to end, and I think will continue and will continue to progress. I've been in NASCAR races. I've been in racing lobbies with real drivers.
You haven't been in NASCAR races. Here's what I'm wondering.
I've been to NASCAR races.
I'm joking. I've been to a NASCAR race, and everybody wears their headphones.
And
like
Kyle Busch, by the way, is the champion. By the way, and everybody who was talking about that 18 car, come on now.
Come on now, he's got Ricky Bobby on. This is the voice he does when he's on the car.
Wheelman.
Yeah, for sure. Pit crew, 500.
Them too.
But my thing is that, do you think that it's dangerous to get so immersed in a lot like the reason porn is unhealthy for men in their real sex lives?
There's a real conversation.
Do you think that the fake driving is gonna affect the real driving?
It's funny you say that.
Is it unhealthy for you day to day?
Would you think that it would make me drive faster or slower in real life?
I'm not sure.
Seriously.
You think you drive slower because you get all your willies out?
I feel like by the time I get in my car and I have a fast car at home. I have one car. It has the ability to go fast, but I don't really like to go fast in it because
until you do. It's kind of like that couple that's going through something, and the guy's been watching too much bad stuff on the internet, and you don't want to go fast until you do, and then it's like, where did you fucking learn that? And where do you expect that that's normal?
For me,
I learned it
having a
on the
fast
internet.
car-
That's what's going to happen to you in a car one day. You're going to be just 35, and you'll be like, oh, I want to go fast today.
It's like the Matrix,
Huh?
where they plugged him in, and all of a sudden he goes, I just learned Kung Fu. Like, he spent about 400 hours in a Kung Fu simulator in his mind. Like,
So that's what's happening to you. Eventually, you're going to
I'm in the
be a
Matrix.
world-renowned NASCAR player.
Maybe the government's training you for something that you don't know yet.
Kyle,
You're gonna have to be. You're
Kyle
gonna be a driver.
and Nate,
I hate this.
Kyle and Nate, we have crossed the finish line of this pod,
This is good.
and it was a photo finish, as they call it. Guess what? The results are in. You guys tied. You guys were both awesome. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Again, we taped this on a Wednesday. A lot can change. I hope everybody had a really good Thanksgiving. Thanks to these guys. In all seriousness, it's great to have my brother home. It's great to still have friends and
Shout out to
teammates
Kelly
like
Brown's
Nate.
Turkeys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, he's got you work on a turkey farm too.
Yeah.
You want to say something about that?
Yeah. Shout out to Kelly Brown's Turkeys.
What do you do on that farm?
You know, we get turkeys ready for families to eat.
And then you murder them. I think we'll end there.
That was fun, man.
Yeah. Thanks for watching both parts of Greenlight episode 10. We did not intend on it being very long, but I had my brother in, one of my college teammates. It's Tech Week. It's Thanksgiving. And I want you to know I'm very thankful that you are watching this YouTube channel or listening on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. So please keep supporting Greenlight if you like it. From the bottom of my heart, I'm very thankful that you are listening.